Hey everybody, welcome to the Lone Wolf Show. And today I have a special guest, and they are on the big screen now on Witchcraft TV. Also, you can see them streaming on Pagan TV. And this is how it goes. Sarah Heartsong, new book out, I bet. What's the gist of it?
I got a new book. It's a book that I've been writing for years and years. I started, let's see, I had my epiphany with the goddess in 92. So that's how long I've been doing this. And then I got my degree in religion from a Lutheran institution in 94. So very interesting. And so all this time I've been collecting Wheel of the Year teachings and been doing rituals, been leading rituals, and been compiling this series of books for my Wheel of the Year, but nothing has really made it click into focus until just a couple months ago when I realized that my audience, the audience that will work perfectly for me and my background, is preteens. So I'm focusing on the preteen audience, and this is the first of my Wheel of the Year series for preteens about Beltane. And one of the things about me is I'm a sex educator. I have been for a long time, as I'm a devotee of Aphrodite, among others. I say I'm polyamorous with my gods as well. So anyway, when I realized that that was my audience, this little story about the Pastafarians came out of me, and it's one of those that just wrote itself. So it's a book with a story about teens now, and a story about a retelling of the Rhiannon story from the Mabinogi.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also have a section for parents to help them with sex education and resources about identity and such, because that's another of my specialties. And then the end of it is a ritual. So with advice and teaching so that they can do their own ritual if they want to.
Tell me about rites of puberty. Is that a natural right? Is that a natural right that is bestowed upon us people, humans?
Well, Joseph Campbell said that nature makes a woman and society makes a man. And I'm
That's
not so sure
bullshit.
about that, to tell
Yeah,
you the
that's
truth,
yeah,
because
that's
it's
bullshit.
quite simplistic. And I understand the time that he was in, yet we have such a variety of expressions of identity now that it's really a spectrum. So I would say it's a combination of both nature and people, because you get acculturated to the society that you're in, as well as nature grows you. We have certain genetic things that happen to us and make us change as we become adults. So it's both.
You feel like nature is against the grain?
Against the grain?
Yeah, is nature against the grain? Is nature just set in stone? I'm Mother Nature, and this is how it's going to be.
No,
I'm
no, I
cruel.
don't.
I'm cruel. I'm loving. I'm warm sunshine. I'm tornadoes. I'm hurricanes. Is Mother Nature cruel?
Of course.
Does she lie to us?
Lies. Now that's an interesting thought, because you're talking about deception, and deception is quite another thing. So lies, deception? No, I
No.
think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I think deception is a human quality.
Right. To
It comes
deceive.
it comes in with our communication, because we don't communicate directly from our hearts. That's not where we don't have like an empathic psychic, like we're not from Bajor. If you want to go to Star Trek world,
Right.
we can't know just like that it's true and it's right. And no, we can't know that immediately. It takes some time looking through the stories, because we're storytellers, and that's what humans are, as storytellers. We create culture from our stories. We create our gods from our cultures, from our stories. So my whole thing in the back in the 90s, what I was grappling with is culture creates religion, religion creates culture. It's a chasing of the wheel, like the tail going around and
Ouroboros.
around.
Good old Ouroboros at its best.
That's right.
So tell me about your new book. What inspired you to write it? When did you know it was being written? When did you start writing it?
Oh my gosh. So I started writing this book like in the 90s. I've been
Nice.
writing and I don't just have this one book. It's multiple books that I've been working on at the same time. It's just I haven't been in my publishing era. I'm saying I'm starting my publishing era. So all of this work that I've been doing the last 30 years on this path now is focusing in. I mean, I've got things written. It's just a matter of it coming through. Now, like I said, when all of a sudden I realized a couple months ago that my audience is the preteens, it put that particular book series came into focus, and now I know how it's got to go, and how what makes my work different than the other books around there. Because
When you
there's tons
say
of Wheel of the Year books.
yes, when you say preteens, do you mean 12 years old, 10 years old?
I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying like 10 to 12 years old,
10 to
or
12.
nine, actually nine, and sometimes even 8 year olds. I mean, when do females get their menses? So that's the age that we're talking about. This puberty, when you're awkward and your body's changing and you're feeling all of those things are happening and the hormones are getting involved. That's the audience I'm talking about.
Right. And that's the audience that you were speaking to directly with your book?
Yes. So the first part of the book is a story about the Pastafarian kids, and this is a friendship that develops through a Beltane event, and how they grapple with certain things like getting one's period for the first time and being able to be attracted to somebody and realize maybe I'm attracted to more than one person at one time. Maybe I'm actually attracted to two people. What do you do with that? You
Right.
know, I'm sick of the dominant paradigm of this serial monogamy.
I think
And
I think what you're talking about, that whole way of being is at any pagan festival in America.
absolutely.
So like
And
I'm
so
cool with that. So yeah, so you're just making it more public, I think. And you're tapping into a younger readership. I've met a few others that are marketing to younger, like there's a coloring book. I think Belladonna Laveau did a coloring book for the kiddos. That was cool.
mhm,
I think it's a good thing. Yeah, somebody's got to write these books and talk about what others don't want to talk about. So you're raising the bar. That's kind of yeah, you're raising the bar. It's kind of uncharted territory already, right off the bat. So this is definitely
absolutely.
this is definitely worthy of people should hear about that. I haven't read it all in full, but I was reading your bio and who you've been affiliated with up until now, and tell me about the when you put a bunch of solitaires and covens together to form some kind of an alliance called Hollis. Was that called Hollis? I
No,
can't
it's
remember.
called the Tree of Life Interfaith Sanctuary,
Okay.
and that ends up becoming the acronym TOLUS.
Told who started it? Where did it come from?
Me, I started it.
What year?
It started in, oh my gosh, now we're in 2003. It was 2000, sorry, 2017, I believe, is when we started.
Mhm.
So it's been, I might have that date wrong. Thank you for asking me that, because I need to get that firmer in my memory, because I got COVID and now my memory is going crazy, like misfires, and it takes me a moment and then it'll come. But we all deal with certain issues like that, and we just move along. So it's over 5 years. And when we really started doing our leaders summits was in when the pandemic began into 2020. We started doing our leaders summits, helping people to connect online. That's when we got our Zoom membership and figured out how to do it. Our
Mhm.
current president is Joshua Rex Vanderhoof, and he has a wonderful ability to do the Zoom and also just all kinds of amazing talents that he brings to the table. So he has helped us significantly get our leaders summit together. And one is coming up this next weekend. In fact, I want to invite you to come. It's on Saturday. And we are it's a full day of on Zoom. So you can Zoom in with your group or you can Zoom in on your own. And we have a full day with, begin with Chris Copeland is going to talk to us about the Speak Your Own Book and Carillion Publications and publishers, sorry, and what they're doing with our elder wisdom preservation. That's the word I was looking for. So one of the three prongs of our vision is helping to preserve the stories and education of our elders. We called it our PEEPS program, our Pagan Elders Education Preservation Sanctuary. PEEPS, there are PEEPS. We need to preserve the PEEPS wisdom. And so the Carillions have this as well as their vision. So we connected in that way. And now we're helping each other now that we found each other. And so this is the thing that the Tolis is good for, is helping us to network. That's why it was created, because the Christian churches do this really well and we do it really poorly. And I've watched it over 30 years.
Sarah,
and we would rather break ourselves down than lift ourselves up.
Sarah, are you yourself a Carillion minister?
No. No, I'm solitaire. I've been a solitaire all this time. My guides never would let me join a group. They let me join the Unitarian Universalist Church for 10 years, and that's where I got a lot of my leadership training and right? Experience.
Right?
In the Unitarian Universalist Church, right. Yeah.
And is not the UU ultimately owned by Christians?
No, not at all. Nope. It's an interfaith sanctuary, if you will. It is absolutely interfaith. And I tell you, you want to talk about herding cats. They're herding cats. We're herding wild cats.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's definitely interesting. If you get a bunch of folks in one room that follow different ways of spirituality and homage to their ancestors in whatever different way, and then they're just like, you know what, to hell with it. You know what, it just is. It just is. And a lot of them mean the same thing, just different stories. So that's really cool. That's really cool. Right. So what do you think that preteens right now in 2024 should be hearing right now educationally with earth-based spirituality, gung-ho, Charge of the Goddess, Outcry, Ballad of Boudica? What is the message to the younger folks, you think?
What is the message from me to the younger folks?
Sure. What's your message for them?
I'll tell you my message.
Sure.
I want to tell them that there are other ways of viewing the world, that they can become independent in their view of religion and find their own path, find their own identity that's true to their heart, and that we aren't stuck in serial monogamy. You can be friends after. You can be romantic and then go and kind of drift apart and become friends and then come back and be romantic. It happens. Right. It's not an absolute, you have to have only one other person and that person is your true love and be end all end, and that makes you complete. That's bullshit. That's not at all what I have experienced in this world, nor is that naturally what humans actually are. We're more like bonobos. We have a lot of partners generally. And so it's become this serial monogamy thing. So they get together and they're together and then they have to break up and they have to have a terrible breakup and where they hate each other and go away and everybody chooses sides and blah, blah, blah. You see it over and over, that story in the media for this age group. Yep. It makes me sick. Yep. So this is my response to that. Like, here's some cute little story of these kids that come together at a Beltane and they've learned about the need to get a consent around touch. They've learned about identity formation, that there are different identities. One of the kids has multiple parents, and he's seen this, he's been in this kind of environment, and so him, it's no big deal. The other two are a little not so sure about it. But it's also got a game. Hey, I changed the game of spin the bottle, so it's actually got rules around consent and touch. And then the other bit is this identity formation. So he, she, they, what kind of pronouns we talk about, identities, sexual identities, gender identities, relationship identities. And I actually give them a format to help them create an identity statement so that they will know what they, listening in, who are they and how they can say it.
If you act like a woman, I'm gonna treat you like one. Is there something you think there's anything wrong with that? If you act like
What
a
do you
man,
mean by treat you like one? Because that's a very cultural saying.
see, that's what I'm saying. There's all kinds of like stuff in the media that you can blow all kinds of out of proportion with this thing. Can you like put it down to the basics for me? Because you're writing books for preteens. I'm 43. I'm 43 years old, and the pronouns with theys and thems, and like I just know that if you're a good person, like I'll give you a hug. I don't care. You know. Like, explain to me what mahogany is. What's mahogany? What is that?
I don't know what mahogany is. What
I
the?
don't either.
Oh, you mean
Masa-
monogamy?
yeah, you said it. You said it earlier in the interview.
Monogamy.
What
That's
does that
being with
mean?
only one person. So
Okay,
if you are monogamous, you have
right.
only one person.
Hmm.
If you are experiencing serial monogamy, that means that you are together with one person, you end that, you are only then with another one person until that ends, and then another one person until that ends.
Right. I mean, isn't that how the pagans did it back in the day, anyways? You jump the broom for a year and you, as long as love shall last, right? Wasn't that originally what it was about?
My point is, it doesn't necessarily have to be with only one person. If it is beautiful and it's natural and it feels great, good, excellent, do that. You know, great. And many times it's kind of dysfunctional to have to totally throw the baby out with the bathwater when you've become really good friends with somebody and all of a sudden it's no longer romantic and sexual. Why can't you be friends? And why does, when we say relationship, why does that only mean romantic relationship? Because there are all different kinds of relationships in this world.
Right. Planetonic. What is planetonic? Mother, daughter, father, son, or sibling relationships.
Friends, different kinds of friends. You can
Role
talk about how
models.
close the friends are as
Yeah.
well,
Role
right?
models.
So it's a spectrum. It's not something that's absolute. And I think that's really where we're coming from. Because of the particular history that we come from a very binary system. It's either or, it's this or that, it's man or woman, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. It's a binary, but does it have to be? Because those could be poles and it becomes a spectrum, more
What's
like a
the
rainbow.
what's the definition of binary?
Either or, two.
Well, either one. Sounds like basic hermetics to me.
It
Above
is.
it, it's
So
within,
this is why
without.
we find a lot of this in our community. And what I want to do is actually I want to give a tool for parents who may have come from the more dominant society
Mhm.
and are dealing with their own internal triggers and past histories and so
Right.
forth, so that they don't have to necessarily pass that along to their kids and their
Do you,
kids' relationship with others.
so
So this
do you think
book is
modern?
actually, so I'm targeting the parents through this book too,
Hmm.
and being transparent about it. And I actually created the book in two published ways. So either with a regular paperback binding or spiral bound. And the reason why I wanted to offer a spiral bound is because parents can choose to pull the book apart and just give the section that's the little story, to the kids at a time, or give them the full book, or eventually when I have the full series, you can take out all the little stories and put them together into the full storybook. See, so there are different options. I'm totally about the parents becoming mindful about their own baggage and then being able to help their kids be mindful of their own self, where they came from, and who they're becoming, and what that looks like. What do they want it to be, without necessarily having the parents dictate this has to be this way.
Yeah, unlocking your own power and whatever, however, whatever, fills the ego. I like it. I like it. I can deal with that. I have a question though. Do you think that these parents um, are feeling the oppression of what was a patriarch suppression or patriarch? Do you think it's embedded into our culture? You were talking about culture earlier on.
Yeah, yeah, patriarchy. So yes, we are a patriarchal society. We are moving out of that, and it affects all of us. Absolutely.
You think that Horus will bail us out and the balance will be restored? Are we going to have? Isn't this the age of Horus?
I'm not very Egyptian. My
So
studies, I
that's
mean, I
so
have a
that's only
smattering of
Egyptian,
it in my basics,
right? So that's
global
only
studies,
Egyptian.
but I really draw a lot of source from Celtic knowledge, and that's more of where my focus has been. Horus,
Sweet.
he's like Toth. He's about making sure that there's a balance and there's justice in the world, and that's what you're asking. Is there going to be justice in this world? I don't know. I think we're in a balancing time, and there's no telling where we're going to end up. I really do. I don't know. I think that we're creating culture now like we have never, as human beings, ever done before. We have never communicated this fast. I have never been able to talk to somebody and see their face. Is this not Jetsons? Like, this was the cartoons of our childhood.
Yeah.
We are creating this fresh. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Yet we have to be brave, and we also have to be real. So we have to remember the burning times are real. People are still being burned today for their identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's being legislated now. So yes, we need to act, and we need to not be afraid to act. And so hear me, here I am. I'm showing up, and I'm coming out of the shadows, and I'm saying, hey, it's okay. Actually, what we're doing is really cool.
One thing I
And
always
it's not
love.
about controlling you. It's about
Mhm.
helping you to control yourself, to help you listen to yourself. Because if we can, we really only can control ourselves. And even that we can only control a tiny bit, because most of our self is automatic. It's by our genes, and our nervous system just happens in the background. There's a lot. And I'm also forming a land sanctuary myself. So I live on 13 acres of land here in Washington State at the base of the peninsula, just about 30 minutes away from Olympia, Washington. And that's about an hour from the ocean. I have a beautiful blessing tree. Her name is Ambrosia, and she is a goddess in the drawing down the moon pose. She really is a huge maple, and the goddess led us to her, and we basically have saved her life. I'm sure that she would have been cut down if it had not been for us, because in closing of the land, the person that owned it before is like, hey, they want to log the land. I'm willing to split the profits on that if you want. And we're like, hell no, we're buying this to protect that land. So we have a goddess blessing tree, and she's amazing and gorgeous. Her name is Ambrosia.
That's
And we
pretty.
also have a 45-foot labyrinth that we're almost finished with. It's a memorial, so it has bricks that people can carve memorials to, and take it into the labyrinth and replace one of the bricks with their brick. And we also have started, because we're in the development stages still, but we've started a small Beltane on our property last year, and it's happening again this year, the first weekend in May. And we are hived off of a Beltane from Albuquerque that has been, that pole has been danced for over 40 years in that community. And I've attended throughout over 20 of those years. I'm not saying I attended every single year. There were a couple of years I didn't, but I watched that community grow and develop. And so, I'm the watcher. I've been watching this community for over 30 years, going in and out of different places, in not just in one bioregion, but in a couple of bioregions, New Mexico as well as Washington, and I would also go to PantheaCon when that was happening. Met a lot of people there. In fact, I think I met Ed Hubbard there and talked to him about the elder preservation thing. So when it popped up with the Corellians, I'm like, dude, they're using a lot of those words. I don't know for sure that I seeded that, but just saying, it's a cool thing to see similar kinds of work coming up. And I'm not about that competition. I'm about like collaboration. So I see that as a wonderful, beautiful thing that this vision is growing.
It is definitely growing. That's definitely growing.
What else would you like to know? Or are we getting close to the end?
We're getting close at the end. Do you have any questions for me?
What is your vision with this Witchcraft TV?
Witchcraft TV the vision is fair representation for all pagan paths. Every witch gets a voice on Witchcraft TV, doesn't matter what tradition. There's no dictatorship with it, and no particular tradition will ever rule Witchcraft TV. And it's I'm trying to dig into the dark web and pull every historic video that was ever recorded on contemporary and historic witchcraft. And I'm going to compile it all into one big hub and have Witchcraft TV capable with modern movies and shows and whatever they'll let me get away with. And if I got to go down swinging with a 501c, then it is what it is. It is what it is. But as of right now, we don't make money. We're not profiting, but we're not a nonprofit either. But we're not making money.
Well, we need to talk more about that because the Tollus is a 501c3. And we are working on our group exemption. And the only reason why we don't have the group exemption now is because the IRS stopped accepting applications in 2020 when they were redoing their rules. No, 2019, I think, when they were redoing their rules, and they still haven't published new rules, and they won't accept applications until their new rules are in. So it's been like 5 years I've been waiting for them to come through with these new rules so we can this exemption. So we actually are a 501c3. We will be getting our group exemption, and we have two kinds of members. Some are associated and some are affiliated, and the affiliated ones are under our umbrella of 501c3. Hopefully that will become formally in place with the group exemption. Until then, we help them to get their state's religious nonprofit business going. And I can help them with bylaws or whatever. I've got all kinds of experience in multiple states. We look up all the laws that are current and I show them where to go and kind of walk them through that. So it's a coaching that I'm offering for free, mind you. And it is because I believe so much in this that I want to create a situation where we can support each other better.
I like it. Anytime it's empowering each other, I'm with it, man. Thank you.
One more thing. You mentioned the word earth-centered. Mm-hmm. And I like that word. And in the 90s, we were struggling with, what do we call ourselves? Do we call ourselves pagans? Do we call ourselves heathens? Do we call ourselves blah, 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 right? And it kind of shook out to now so mostly pagans, but even that doesn't fit all of the people that follow similar kind of things. So I've coined a term nature-based. Mm-hmm. I feel like nature-based fits us better than earth-based because most of us actually include like the sun and the universe and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And even center in the universe, and I don't see them as being dissimilar to what we're doing. So I say nature-based, and the thing that's interesting about the Tollus is what we center around is a statement of ethics. So we have a quite complex statement of ethics that we all agree upon, and that's what we center upon. Not about a tradition, it's about a statement of ethics on how we're going to behave to be the best human beings we can. As long as you're nature-centered and you agree with our ethics, you're welcome to join.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in. Sign me up.
Yay!
Doreen Valiente, highest ideals. Be the best you possible. You just said that. That's a hell of a best ethics I've heard. Earth-based spirituality. Yeah. I'm just a frog on a lily pad.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. And our ethics actually go throughout the thing, but sometimes they can be skewed a little bit, based upon people's egos and what they think should happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway, check it out. It's what distinguishes us like a little bit from other people is that that's where our fulcrum is what we consider best behavior and ethics.
You heard it right here. Lone
Ooh.
Wolf Show, Witchcraft TV. Sarah Heartsong, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Harold. It was wonderful to be here. And I wish you best with all that you're doing with Witchcraft TV. And may we help you. I will be there for you.